Lorrie Popow here. I've come from a wonderful egg show called Pysanky at the Gardens. While there, we filmed some wonderful tips from egg artists. Granted, the quality of the audio and video is not spectacular since we weren't in a studio, but I'm sure you will pick up some very interesting information. I'm sharing with you today a wonderful demo for how to photograph eggs by my good friend, Pat Ware.
My name's Pat Ware, and I'm just going to talk a little about how you photograph eggs, which is really important because if you want to share your eggs, both on Facebook or whether they're going to be in a poster or you're going to perhaps publish them, you need to know how to photograph them properly. One of the very important things is to not have blurry photographs, right? Do not send blurry photographs into publishers. They just won't want them. But in the actual setting up, here I've got a pre-bought studio. It's got pieces of Velcro so it all folds flat. What I recommend is taking it outside in the daylight and using it in daylight. Now, if the sun is very bright, which you've got wonderful bright sunlight here, it is useful to use this piece that comes across the top, and that just diffuses the light. Obviously, the egg sits in here. So I'll open it up and let you see the rest of it. Stop me at any time if you want to ask questions. On the back here is a Velcro strip. And this Velcro strip, what I've done is I've made several pieces of fabric. This is pan velvet, so it's quite stretchy. And I've done them in lots of different shades. So we've got greys, pinks, whites, and they're all double-sided. And I've put Velcro over the back. So all we have to do is pop them in here. Stick them to the back. And we then have a different back cloth. Okay? The next thing we can do is to put a box, because obviously eggs, they need lifting up. You don't want to take them flat on the surface. So we can pop a box under here, and then we can set our egg nicely nestled, and you've got a nice smooth color around the egg, and it shows the egg off. You don't want a busy background. That's really important. If you're using small eggs, or you prefer to have a more natural look, you can have an attractive bowl with either rice or some seeds or beans, which particularly for Pysanky sets it off beautifully, and you just set your egg in it. But again, it is very important and very nice to have a plain background. Of course, choose your colour background for whatever kind of egg you're doing. So this particular cat egg that we've been looking at would look very nice against a green background. You see? Mm-hmm. And you photograph that and zoom in nicely so that you don't have a lot of background. But the important thing is not having a busy background. And that goes for any kind of photography of any subject. Don't have too busy a background because your subject is the important factor. Okay? If you can't afford one of these boxes, and I don't know exactly how much they cost right now, Lorrie came up with a brilliant idea. You just take some pieces of card, black card, and open it up. Okay, we can do this on the table. And there you have a ready-made studio. Now, I don't see why, as long as it's stable enough, maybe a cross piece and some tape, you could then hang or drape your fabric over. Okay? And you can do exactly the same thing. So that would be a cheap way of setting up a studio for your egg. Okay? The other thing that I do at home is I've got a dressing table and I put a couple of towels over the mirror part of my dressing table and then onto the flat part. and then I get a piece of voile and I put that over the top. The towel behind it just gives a bit of thickness and depth to the background, and the voile gives a lovely shimmery look, and it sets off eggs beautifully. So the other thing that you can do, not necessarily really if you are out in daylight, but it is possible if you're shooting indoors, is to use a bit of aluminium foil on some card, and this way you can reflect. Can you see the light on that egg? It just reflects light onto it, and you want to have a well-lit subject, and that is all it is to photograph